now.
We got Manny on, we got all kinds of people. Deborah, where are you calling in from?
Hi, I'm from Los Angeles,
How you
Santa
doing?
Clarita. Good, how are
Nice.
you?
Good, good. I just talked to a good friend of mine lives in Valencia, I think, yesterday. So
Okay,
she
who?
she
Maybe I know them.
her name is Lynn Villanueva. She's been an agent for many, many years. I used to know her from KW, but I thought she lived in Virginia for a while and she was from Burbank. I go, where are you now? She goes, I'm Santa Clarita. I'm like, really? It's like,
Huh. It sounds familiar. Her last name sounds familiar.
yeah, she's older than you. And yeah, I've been around a while. Let's see. Waiting room. Can you tell if somebody's waiting to get in? Oh, there it is. Okay.
I have one person, but it looks like he's mid joining. It's
Okay, good. All right. Well, first, since we're recording and everybody can, hear me say this, I apologize. I dropped the ball on getting you all the paperwork for all of the shift stuff that Selena and I shared with you last time. So what I'm going to do, instead of waiting, as soon as we hang up with this call, I'm going to go ahead and send out that email. Go ahead, Selena.
from our last call.
Yeah.
I sent that out to everybody.
You send it out to everybody on this call?
The one that we did last week.
No, we didn't do this last week. We do it the first and third
Oh,
Friday.
I mean,
So it was
2 weeks
December
ago.
2nd. Yeah.
Yes.
You did?
Did no one? Yes. Did no one get it?
Oh, well, I didn't know because I didn't send it. Did you send that through Leah?
No, I sent it through me and I sent it to everyone and I CC'd you and Casey on it. I BCC'd everyone that you should have gotten 2 shift modules and the calculator. It would have come from Selena at Empire Builders Pro.
Okay. I didn't know that because I usually do that through Leah because there's over 1,100 people on the list. I didn't know that you
No,
did that.
but we only sent it to the people who were here on the call.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of that. Okay.
Yeah. It
What
went
did
out.
Manny say? I didn't get it maybe because I wasn't on the call. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yep.
we'll send it out to the whole group this time. Oh, look how many people are jumping on. I guess it did do something for me to send out 2 emails reminding you. So good to see you all. And I can tell you this, and Deb, what we'll do is we'll add your list to the email list and then you'll get it also. Okay. So I'm going to put my email in here, and if you will send me your email address, please. Not putting it in the chat won't help me. So just
Okay.
email me and say, I want to be on the email list for this call, because we have a lot of people on it, but nobody just grabbed a bunch of names. Everybody that's on it asked to be on it. So
Okay.
so if you guys can all do that, that would be great. And what I really want to talk about is what I put in the email. And then today, Selena and I were given even more information about new shift products that are coming out from Workman Success Systems, the company we coach for, and how we can use those. Now, I'm going to probably, and I just thought of this, Selena, so I don't mean to put you on the spot, but maybe have Selena touch on a couple of the other things that we're working on that will benefit you guys. And what I'm going to do is see about having our first call in January, which is on 6th of January, be Cleve Gaddis, who is the sort of the head guy going through these conversations and creating the documents and the scripts and the dialogues that go with it. Here's what I want to tell you. If you're on this call and you run a team, these tools can help you recruit more people to your team. If you are an agent and you are working hard to create more results in your business, then these tools can definitely benefit you in a big way, like in a big way. So it's important that you start to read them and absorb them, but not to just go out and vomit it on other people. But I think the main thing is that it become that it become part of your conversation, and that you start to understand that there's a mindset behind it. Selena and I were just on our team daily huddle, and somebody talked about the reaction of one of our buyer leads that came across. And when I think the first thing that Selena said is that, we don't know what they're going through. We have no idea what buyers are going through right now, or sellers. We do know that they are much more anxious about this if they are a seller or a buyer, because the last few years has been nothing but, going up in prices. Seller knew what to expect. Buyers knew what to expect. We heard a statistic today that as many as 80% of the people who bought in the last 3 years, up till April of this year, up to 80% of them, this is a staggering number, they settled. They were not 100% happy with what they bought. They settled. So that's disconcerting at the very least. It's just a concern. And we always make it about us. Like when Tina on our team called and the lady just said, she announced who she was, and the lady said no and hung up. That's all the dialogue. No and hung up. So when you think about that, we're going to instantly want to take it personally. And really, it's not about us at all. And I can say that to you all the time, but when it happens to you, you're just not going to call the lead back. And that's not effective either, because it's a lead. Like the leads we get, they have to answer questions. And one of the questions, are you thinking of buying in 0 to 2 months, 2 to 4 months, or after 4 months? And that means the person had to have stopped and answered the question, because their answer was 2 to 4 months, meaning they had to answer it. And there's another question, do you own or rent? And they checked rent. They had to answer it. So that tells you that in the moment they were on the site, they were enthusiastic enough to answer the questions truthfully. So those are the things that I really, really want you to start to consider in your daily communication. Because look, guys, I love that Tina brought that up, but it's the holiday season. If that lady was in the midst of, you've been signed out because your account is signed in from another device. Okay. If that lady was in the middle of, oh my God, Christmas is, a week from Sunday and I haven't shopped, or if that lady had an emotional memory about something that occurred years ago around Christmas, my mom died at Christmas, whatever, like we don't know. And it is so vital that we stop and consider. There's a gentleman on this call today that I saw his name pop up, but I don't see where he is on the screen, that I met yesterday. And he's an incredible young man who has just gotten his real estate license. And I did the trick with him where I showed him how many contacts were in his iPhone, and there were 447. And he finished my sentence. He hasn't even finished getting his license. He's got to do his fingerprints and everything. And he said, you want me to call all those people, don't you? So, and I said, yes. And he got it like right away, that it was going to be a conversation about how are you doing? Listen, guys, do you realize that March, like 3 months from now, today, 3 months from today, the 16th of December, 3 months more, is March 16th, the 3-year anniversary of the day the world shut down. March 16th, 2020. My Rottweiler just came in and stared at me like he was expecting a treat or something. So if you think about that, look at it, you look back and you go, God, has that been 3 years? But think about the number of people that are in your phone that you haven't connected with, and just say, oh my gosh, I'm glad the holidays are here. It gave me an excuse to call you. And you know what? I didn't really need an excuse. So I apologize for how long it's been since we've chatted. How are you? How are you holding up in this insanity of the last 3 years? And people go, oh, don't say the word insanity, Rick. That's negative. No. it's been insanity. I mean, think about what's gone on. Riots, right? Civil unrest, an election that caused people to hate each other on Facebook. Like, you name it, it's gone on. Earthquakes, fires, hurricanes. In the last 3 years, you know, it read like, what's the book in the Bible? Not Genesis, but
Revelations.
Revelations. It read like Revelations. Thank you, Selena. So all I want us to say is, look, let's like stand up straighter, stick our chest out, feel more proud, feel like, not look at being a real estate agent as anything negative at all. It's what we do. It's an amazing occupation. And just like any occupation, there's going to be those that ruin it for the rest of us. And we have to be bigger than that. You know, I had a friend of mine in Oklahoma City, and she's sometimes on this call, but I don't know if she's on it today, and she would say that, oh my gosh, there's this guy, he's got this horrible reputation and I want nothing to do with him. I go, you're a real estate agent, he's a real estate agent. There's never going to be a time when there isn't somebody in real estate that's going to ruin it for the rest of us. All we can do is stand up, act, talk, walk, sleep, eat, work as an example, period, as an example. All right. So in the interest of that, Selena and I will meet and figure out how we're going to get this out to you and how much we're allowed to get out to you. I want to say that because I want to respect the relationship I have with Workman Success Systems. We are allowed to have a few of the tools shared with everybody. So I'll get that out to you as soon as we get that done. Now,
Real quick,
go ahead,
for those
Selena.
of you emailing like mad, while all of that was happening, I was downloading an app into Zoom, which is why you got the notification, Rick. So you don't need to send any emails because I just took attendance of everybody on the call. There's an app for that in Zoom. So I'll do it again at the end. So I actually have all of your names of everybody who's on. So I'll continue to take it again at the end of the call so that I'll have everybody that I need to send it.
Oh, and how do we get their email addresses?
I have all of that because we invited them all to the call, silly. And then trust me, if there's anybody who can find anybody's information out into the interwebs, it is Selena. So
okay.
I will find you. Okay. And you will get it.
Good.
No worries there.
All right. Awesome. So, yeah, so there's, like I said, there's so much to go on, but what I want to go back over right now is I emailed you all right? And I emailed and I brought that email up so that I could access it here and talk to you about it. And one of the things I said in there is that there was a link in the email to the last call, but then there's a link for, in fact, I'll just share my screen real quick so you guys can see it. And this is the email that went out, okay? So hold on one second, let me get this out of the way. So if you look right here in this paragraph, here's the link to find that call. And of course, the link to see the other calls too. Some of you are newer to this, and some of you are about to go into what we call our long winter nap, where you start to do nothing but eat cookies and celebrate with people, and that's fine. I'm not going to say I'm not going to do that, but I do have to watch my girlish figure. So I am going to say that this gives us an opportunity, this little email, for those of you that really want to sharpen the saw, really become a bigger, better version of yourself as a realtor. There are some really great calls on there that you could go back and record. This is not some promotion. I don't sell anything. I don't get any money. I just want you to have a better business going on in 2023. Now, look at what happens at the bottom of all of these emails. Down here, see these reference documents? These are all links that we have permission to share with you from Workman Success Systems. All right. And there's some really good stuff. There's an apology script. That's the script I use when I haven't called somebody in ages, but I want to go call them. There's a business plan workbook right here, which we did 4 calls if you go back, and we did those calls for all of October and all of November. So the 2 calls in October and the 2 calls in November were all about the business plan workbook and working through it to get it filled out. So if you download that business plan workbook and then you go watch October's first call, October's second call, November's first call, November's second call, you'll walk all the way through the completion of the business planning clinic. Yes, that's 4 hours, but it will take you probably 10 to 12 hours to fill out that workbook. So it's really good stuff. The Ford technique, we say when you're picking up the phone to call people, like my buddy Ong, who's on the call, that's going to call the people in his phone, you're going to use the Ford technique. The Ford technique is family, occupation. Let me see if I can pull it up. Is this showing on my screen now? Can you see it, Selena? Okay. Family, how are you doing? How's your family? How's your wife? How are your kids? How are the in-laws? How are your parents? Like occupation, that's about job, recreation. Where are you going anywhere fun for? Like, look at it, it goes for occupation, recreation, and dreams. When you click on that, it's a reminder. If you just print that up or leave it on your screen while you're making your calls, it's constantly reminding you. Now, a little trick that I learned, that's in there. It's going to be in there when we send it to you. A little trick that I learned many, many years ago, late 80s, was when you were making your calls, if there's any way you could have a little mirror, these are basics, but they work like nobody's business. If you could have a little mirror, that's what I love about Zoom, is there's a mirror to show you, do you look like, you know, RBF? Do you guys know what RBF is? Resting bitch face. Yeah. Selena, what did you say about your husband the other day that sometimes people called him?
ABF. He is
always bitch face. I won't tell him you said that. So the main thing that I want you to say about that is that I want to say about that, if the mirror is sitting right there while you're making your calls, it's not Zoom, so you can't see yourself, and you are looking in there and you're always smiling, that smile transmits through the telephone. It changes energetically the way your voice sounds and everything. And it's as simple as, you've all heard me the example. I always answer the phone. Hi, this is Rick. How may I help you? Right? They're calling my cell phone. It's my cell phone. So I say, hi, this is Rick. How may I help you? But I've noticed personally, along with the help of my wife and the other people around me when I answer, Selena included, that sometimes when I say, hi, this is Rick. How may I help you? Casey, my wife, says, you sound like AA. You've all heard me say this before, angry Arab, because I'm Middle Eastern. So she says, you sound like an angry Arab. You don't sound patient. So now when I go to answer the phone, I'm taking a deep breath and I'm going, hi, this is Rick. How may I help you? So that there's a little music in my voice. And no matter what, even if I'm anticipating an idiot on the other phone, which there in itself lies the problem with my patients, I'm always anticipating somebody asking a stupid question on the phone. Now I'm getting better about that, and I'm anticipating that someone's calling me because they want to buy or sell a house, or because they missed me and they want to tell me how much they missed me. So just change your attitude, you know, sit up straight, smile more, those kinds of things. So Sherry, my friend Sherry Mason, who's on the call with the headset, said, you know, told me to call someone yesterday. Well, she told that person that she was going to have Rick Jiha call her. So I noticed how different my voice was when I was making the call. And she answered the phone. Her name was Casey. And I said, hi, Casey. So just right then, if you start to pay attention to your language, to your positioning, to your energy, to your vibration. Look, the reason I have a purple Santa hat on is I know this about purple. Purple vibrates at a much higher level than red. Did you know that? Like, I know this is fluffy stuff that you go, I don't really need to know that, but I like the color purple. It's the color of my team. If you look up my website, rickjihateam.com, you'll see a lot of purple. Lorena, quit laughing at me. And Brooke, I know you're laughing crazy too. So, the main thing that I want you to say is, if you're paying attention. So Casey said, I said, hi, Casey, this is Rick Jiha. Sherry asked me to give you a call. And she was like, oh, I'm so excited to hear from you. Okay. That was, for me, an indication how different of a result I could create by changing me when I have no control over Casey or how she reacts. Do you get that? So I did invite her to the call. Casey, are you on?
I am.
Oh, there you are. You're just as iPhone. Thank you for being on. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about you behind your back,
No.
but
You're fine.
yeah. Oh, by the way, since you're on, did I say anything that was untrue?
Don't believe so.
Okay, good. All right. So the reason I bring this up is because, look, think about how we treat people. Is there anybody on here that celebrates Christmas? Raise your hand if you celebrate Christmas. Okay, because there's a lot of people who don't, but all right. So Deb, are you new to the call?
Hi, I am actually, Mike Bjorkman actually invited me or forwarded me the information and told me that I need to be on your calls like every week.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, this call is the first and third Fridays only, not every week, but yeah, we'd love to
Okay.
have you. So,
First
but
and
let's,
third.
I'm going to use you as an example, Deb. Are you
Okay.
wishing people you know Merry Christmas?
Sometimes I say Merry Christmas and sometimes I say Happy Holiday. I kind of go
Right,
with their
but
lead
you're
first.
but you're saying something, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're saying something cheery. Now, I have a sweater from an ugly Christmas sweater that's from the movie Home Alone, and it says "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal." And if you remember that scene from that movie, I came across Deb's laughing. Debbie from Fresno's laughing. Does anybody remember that scene in the movie Home Alone? Right.
Yeah.
And it's a scene on the television. The guy's got a machine gun and he's going, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal." Bruce, you never watched Home Alone? Dude, you got to have a date night with your lovely wife and do that. Bernadette, how about you? Have we watched it?
I have. I'll make it happen for Bruce.
Okay, good. No, he's got to see that scene. It's hilarious. So it's like if you haven't watched Home Alone and you haven't watched Elf, you haven't lived. You got to watch Elf. Like watch Elf 100 times. It's great. So so when you think about for a minute about how it is you want to communicate that, right? I did an entire text to some of my friends the other day that had a link to show all of the holidays in December, and then another link to show all of the observances like what was it, Selena, the other day was National Ice Cream Day in
Yep.
freaking December, right?
It's really in July.
I know, but we saw it on there. It said that there was a National Hug Day just the other day. There's all kinds of stuff. So all of those are in those links. You know what? I'll put them in the email that we send out. So when you're thinking about all of this, you start to say, how is it that I say happy holidays to somebody? Or how is it that I say Merry Christmas or enjoy the season? Or when you hug somebody, you say, I missed you. Are you saying it because you felt like you had to, or because it felt good to you to do that, right? Like people know when I'm coming anytime from the day after Thanksgiving till the day after Christmas that I love Christmas. They just see it. They're either going to see it in the color of the clothes I wear. They're going to see it in the pins that I wear on my clothes, that my socks. They can't see my underwear, but even my underwear are Christmas underwear. Okay. So the reason I say that is because I want to exude that energy. Now, if we apply that to our real estate business, what if we applied that in a way, and I've said it before, but I'm saying it again because it's going to be recorded and you're going to hear it again. When someone says, how's the market? You say, unbelievable, with that much enthusiasm. Unfreaking believable if you really want to put an emphasis on it, right? And they'll say, what are you smoking, dude? You're high. The market is not unbelievable. Really? I just talked to a buyer who couldn't believe the deal they got. When someone says the market is unbelievable, do we always go back to what a seller thinks it is because the prices are dropping? Right? I just had a seller close on the home and said, yeah, we had to drop our price, but I'm sure glad I'm done with this. There's enthusiasm for everybody because people who are worried about the price and don't have to move won't sell. The ones who do have to sell at whatever price, period. Right? When someone asked me the other day, they said, should I put my home on the market now? I go, why are you selling? Where are you going? I'm a real estate agent. I'm a real estate fiduciary. I'm a professional consultant. Those are all the titles that I can use. Why are you selling? Oh, well, we just, worried about prices going down. I go, is the equity in your home a major consideration in your retirement? And that stopped him dead in his tracks. Why? Because that's a question a professional consultant is asking a potential client. Is the equity in your home a consideration in your retirement? And he said, yes. I said, then maybe selling now is a better idea, depending on when you're retiring. And he said, oh, not for a few years. I go, well, I'm not a prognosticator, but what I'm hearing from people is that appreciation is going to continue in 2023, and that by the end of the first quarter, interest rates could be as low as 5%. Now, again, and I say this over to him again, I'm not a prognosticator. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax attorney. I'm certainly not a lender. I'm a real estate agent. I can't predict anything other than what's going on right this minute. And he said, I like that, Rick. I'll wait. Right? I said, please make waiting your decision, not mine. That's all I asked him. So when you think about it, we have to think about how we're talking to people and what is being exuded. Are we coming across as energetic? When I was talking to my new buddy Ong yesterday, the one thing I assured him is that the only people that know that you're brand new most of the time is you, not them, right? And if they are a relative or a friend and they know, well, of course you're brand new because I know you weren't doing real estate 2 weeks ago when I talked to you, right? Now those people do know, and you can say, I'm partnering with, and then whatever comes after with has to be the truth. Right? So he can say, I'm partnering with Rick Jiha's got over 42 years here in this area selling homes. Or if you're not partnering with me, you could say, I'm associated with a brokerage that has hundreds of years of residential real estate experience combined. All of that is not a lie, because remember, in the state of California or wherever you are, most states, the brokerage is in control of the transaction, not the individual agent. So if you're associated with a brokerage or a team, then you can say we have hundreds of years of combined residential real estate experience, or whatever you've got to say that is truthful, because you want to set that aside as quickly as possible so that people feel very energized. Now, I'm going to stop right there because I got a little bit in a tangent, but the main overlying subject there was, how's your energy going to be the rest of this year and going into next year? I do want to remind you that there are 15 days left in the year, and there's 17 more days till we go back to work. All right. What do I mean by that? January 2nd is the day most people will go back to work. Some January 3rd, whatever. But January 2nd is the day most people, and there's 17 days till January 2nd. Do you think you will take all 17 of those days off completely? I'm guessing most of you won't, but I do want to ask you this. If you are not taking those days off, which days will you purposefully create something that will benefit your business? Okay. I sat right here at this desk from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. yesterday nonstop, other than getting up to use the restroom, have a quick bite, and then come back. All right. So other than that, man, I felt so productive yesterday. And today is my in-laws' 50th wedding anniversary. So I'm going to be a lot less productive after 3:30 this afternoon, because we're going to go celebrate. But I know which days I'm going to work. Then my sons are coming to celebrate Christmas with me. So guess what? That means I'm going back to work on the afternoon of the 20th. The afternoon of the 20th, all day on the 21st are going to be very busy work days. And then I'm going to start relaxing on the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. And then the 26th, I'm going right back to work again. I already know that. Like, I know in my head, my calendar. And I want you to. So I'm going to show you something on the screen again. Selena, if there's anything in the chat that I need to worry about, would you tell me?
I'll keep you posted. I'm on it.
Let's see. I got to
And
find
thank
that.
you to everybody who put their emails in there. I have it already.
Yeah,
Thank you.
let's see. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, so I want to show you something that really plays important in my life, and I hope that you will take it on. Right here in the email, it says, is my business plan done? I just showed you that the email will have a business plan workbook. Most of you, like I said, you can go download the workbook. I suggest printing it up and then going through the 4 calls and getting it done quick. Did I set goals? And if so, how? Were they big, hairy, audacious goals? Meaning, I set a goal to take 100 listings next year. If I only take 70 listings, I'm not going to be upset because that would still be my biggest year ever in my 42-year career of taking numbers of listings. Have I calendared out and planned my year? Now, this is important. I don't have it with me. It's in the other room. But we took, with Selena, we sat down for 90 minutes about last Tuesday before this one. So about a week and a half ago. And we went through this saying right here. Do you see this one where it says play, prep, and pay? I want you to stop for a minute and think about those three words. If you planned your year with play, prep, and pay as the order, right, then you will have the most incredible year. And let me tell you what I mean by that. How many of you here, I'm going to get off sharing screen for a minute so I see more of you. How many of you here have ever heard of the Big Rocks exercise? Sherry Mason, Bruce. Okay, a lot of you haven't. So I'm going to share with you quickly a story about the Big Rocks exercise. A professor walks into his classroom with a big glass, wide mouth mayonnaise jar that's empty. And laying on the table around him, he has a pitcher of water. Thanks, Betty. I didn't realize you were on the call till I saw that. Good to see you. A pitcher of water. He has a jar of sand. He has a ton of pebbles, and he has a couple of big rocks. So he proceeds to take the big rocks and he puts them into the jar. He was able to fit 3 of them in there. And he held up the jar to his classroom and he said, "Is this full?" A couple of people said yes, but most people said no. Then he took the pebbles and he put them in, and the pebbles fell amongst the rocks down to the bottom of the jar and filled up all around the jar all the way to the top. And he said, "Is this full?" And now most of the people said yes. Then he took the pitcher of sand and started pouring sand. Well, if it were full, wouldn't the sand have poured out over the sides? But it didn't. The sand trickled down between the pebbles and the big rocks, and you could see from the glass jar how the sand was coming up to the top. And he said, "Now, is it full?" Everybody raised their hand. Yes, it's full. He took the pitcher of water and he started pouring. If it were full, then it would have all come out the sides, but it didn't. The water actually trickled down throughout the sand and the pebbles, and you could see the level of water rising till it got to the top. And he said, "I'm not asking you now, this is full." And then he asked the question, "What's the moral of the exercise?" And everybody said, "You can always fit more into your schedule." That's what someone said. And he goes, "No." And they said, like they had all kinds of answers. And he said, hold on one second, let Michelle in. He said, "Let me ask you this so that you can see the moral of the exercise. If I had done it backwards, would I ever have gotten the big rocks in?" And therein lied the moral of the exercise. No, if he had done the water and the sand and the pebble, there's no way he would have gotten those big rocks in there. The big rocks represent the most important things in your life. By the way, in real estate, we have the same rule. It's called the 80-20 rule. 20% of the things we do lead to 80% of our income, and 80% of the things we do are supporting that income. Think about it. You know, if I'm showing property, writing contracts, negotiating contracts, lead generating, or lead following up. 5 things. Okay, those are the 5 things that make me my income. Then everything else I do is a support of that stuff, right? And why am I saying that? That's a big rock. So a big rock in real estate is prospecting. Following up is a big rock, right? Those are big rocks. Writing a contract is a big rock in real estate. Negotiating a contract is a big rock in real estate. What are the big rocks in your life? That goes back to play, prep, and pay. The first thing that's going to go into my yearly calendar is vacations. The very first thing, time off with my kids, date nights with my significant other. Everything that's a playtime is going in first. Now, I'm going to urge you, if you don't have a date night with your significant other, that you get one. And you might say, "Oh, once a week's impossible right now with my schedule." Go ahead, believe that if you want. there's a country music song. I swear it to this day. Every time I hear it, I get tears in my eyes. It says, you can do this anytime until you can't. Right? There's a part in the song where he says, going fishing with your father. You can do it anytime until you can't. Right? So that really gets me. So if the date night, maybe it's once a month for now, maybe you work it into once a week, but it becomes protected time. Mother's and Father's Day, like if that's important to you, your kids' birthdays, all of those things can be crossed off in your calendar now for 2023. Where are you taking a vacation? Where are you doing this? What are you doing? Like all of that's got to get into the calendar first from now all the way to December 31st of 2023. Now we go to the next word, prep. Now you're probably thinking, what is prep? Well, prep are the things you do to support you being better at what you do for a living. Masterminds, conventions, seminars, classes, this call. If you feel like this call is valuable and you want to get it on every time, guess what? You've gone through every first and third Friday and marked off between 9 and 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's a prep in your schedule. All right. Now, like I know when I've got we've got a big mastermind in Maui at the end of January. We've got another one in Cabo when, Selena, March or April. Then we've got a big shareholders summit in Orlando. Then there's a big Tony Robbins and build thing in San Antonio in July, and it just goes on and on. It's going to end up being about 5 or 6 major events, which is only one every 2 months. When you think of it that way, it doesn't seem a lot, but all of those things are vital. Plus, I love where I live now, so I also want to make sure there's time where I get to stay here where I live, because to me, being where I live right here is also a great thing. So all of those things have to go in under my prep time, okay? All of my prep time. Now, if you were doing this whole thing and you did all of that, you're going to look at your calendar and go, where the hell am I going to work? Right? That's how thorough you have to be, such that you're looking at those days, it goes play, prep, and pay. What's left over is the days you go to work. Right? Now, I'm going to urge that most of you, I hate to should all over you, but need to be taking at least one day off a week. If you're like, I can remember the times where I was 1.4 million in debt and a 440 credit score and working my butt off just to get back to normal, right? When that happened, I was working 7 days a week for a long time. And I remembered a lesson I learned in 1989 that said, if you never have a day off, you never have a day on. So I went back to making sure I took a full day off. All right. So when my kids were small, I took Saturdays off for almost 20 years because that was their baseball day. And my wife at the time would work that day. So that day was me and my boys, right? We'd go to baseball, we'd do whatever we had to do. And people would say, well, how'd you take Saturdays off as a realtor? Well, I worked Sundays. But I've learned since then that I can work any days I want. It just depends on how productive I am on those days. If I want to say no to Saturday and Sunday, and I have a lot of agent friends who do, then all I have to do is be super productive Monday through Friday. Okay, so let's see. Let me see where I am on this. Okay, so let me go back to this. And then it says, I'll share my screen. Does anybody have a comment, thought, question, anything about what I've said so far? You can ask it now. All right. So now it says here, have I picked a contextual word for myself for 2023? And I go, what's that, you ask? Well, this is something that my wife and I have been doing since we've been together. And this is every year about this time, we come up with a contextual word, and this is what we do with it. So I'm going to show you here that in my little purple high vibration book that my amazing friend Selena got me, I've written down several words for my contextual word right here. So I have 3 choices that I've put down for myself, and I'll probably add another one before I narrow it down to one word. And the 3 words are consistency, action, and prioritization. Why? Because I look at this year. That's what I do. I'm not looking at this year and seeing where I failed as a way of making myself less than or feeling like I'm insignificant or I'm never enough, which is what we do as humans. I'm looking at it to see, where did things go awry if they went differently than I had planned? Ask yourself that. Where did they go awry? I didn't get the result I had anticipated, so where did it go wrong? And what I look at is my prioritization was wrong. All right. So Selena, what month did we partner? May?
May.
May. So starting in May, I had Selena as a partner, and my wife is also my partner in these businesses that we run. And I had this very strong realization. It was really told to me that I was prioritizing the wrong things and I wasn't taking enough action or consistent action in the areas that would get me what I wanted. Now, I want you all to stop and think, if I said lead generation was your problem, would it be that you'd never lead generated, or you just never lead generate consistently enough, right? So the words consistency, action, and prioritization are very big in my mind. And here's what we do with the contextual word that we're using. We use it every time I make a decision about 2023. Then I have to stop before I make the decision and put the word, the contextual word. Let's say I'm going to go with the word prioritization. Every time I decide I'm going to go somewhere, do something, talk to someone, pick up the phone, not do something, I have to stop and say to myself, is that decision in alignment with my contextual word? I did not do that in 2022 at all. Right? I did it in 2021 very effectively. I got a word at the end of 2020 and I used it all throughout 2021. But I was at so much reaction, I became a firefighter in 2022, which meant I was putting out fires all the time and not designing my life is what an architect does. Bernadette, go ahead, dear.
I'm sorry. So
No, don't apologize. I love when I hear from you.
thank you. So Bruce and I being a team, do you think we should do our own contextual word, or should we?
Great question. So what's on this page? Great question. It's answered right here on this page. Is look what it says. It says my word. Then it says Casey's word. It's all blank because I can't help her pick it out. Then it says our couple word. See, our couple word. Okay. Some of my ideas, but I can't decide on the couple word without her input, are united, linked, aligned. We saw things a little differently in 2022 with each other. And the thing that'll make us more strong going forward for me would be that we're more linked, united. I even, guess what? I downloaded an app called the Thesaurus, and I actually take the words in my head, I put it in the Thesaurus, and I see what other words are like that could be more powerful to me. Then Casey and I have, and Selena have this thing called empirebuilders.pro. So I have an EBP word. And then the Rick Jiha team, I have an RGT word. Okay. So you might say, oh, that's a lot of words. Well, it's a lot of different things. And contextually, like I know personally, for me, Rick Jiha, I need prioritization, I need action, and I need consistency. Now, they can all be like, if I just take action every day, I'm probably not going to settle on the word action because I'm pretty good at getting into action. I just have to figure out what action I'm going to be in, like prioritize that. So does that help your question, Bernie?
Very much. Very
Okay.
much. Thank you.
All right. Is it okay to call you Bernie?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Now, does anybody else have a comment, question? I can't see you all when I'm sharing my screen, so you just have to speak. Go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Rick. So, I mean, what is a contextual what? Like, what does that mean? I don't
Okay,
know.
contextual, context. So you guys have all heard the word content. We talk about it for Facebook. We got content. Let me give you an example. If I drew an arch like this, and at the top of the arch, I put the word red, okay? And under the arch, I wrote the word strawberry, watermelon, sunset, blood. What are all those words? Those words below are a content, and the context is red. Do you get that? So it's an overarching, context is an overarching leading role, meaning if I had a whole argument with you about Biden versus Trump, What's the context of that conversation? It's politics. You get it?
Yes.
The conversation, main thing is it's politics, right? And I don't like discussing politics. Sex, religion, politics never show up in my conversations for the most part. Sex only in jokes. So, but the point that I'm saying is when you get a context, so a context is for instance, if I pick the word prioritization as my context, then all throughout the year, when I'm going about my life, I'm going to prioritize what thing I'll do before this thing. Okay. So for instance, I know now for my health, I'm 65 years old and I've learned a lot so if my overarching context for this part is health, then I know for me at 65 years old, I want to strengthen my legs and my bones. Okay. Because there's a lot of problems with elderly people, the people that get older with the strength of their legs, being able to get up off the floor without using your hands. I play a lot of basketball, so far, no worries. And then I know flexibility is a problem. So I want to start making, under my health context, the time every morning to stretch and to roll on a roller. So that's a lot of information, too much information for you. But bottom line, under the big context of prioritization, one of the things I'm going to prioritize is health. And then under the health is all the things I will do. Does that make a little more sense for you?
Yes.
Good. All right, good.
Yeah.
So, yes, who's that?
Kevin's
Yeah.
posted in chat that he
Yeah.
has some difficulty evaluating himself and finding words or direction. Could you maybe speak to that a little bit when you feel like you're struggling to find what that word is?
Yeah, usually when you're struggling to find a word with is, believe it or not, I'm not just making it about me because Kevin, I know you and we're a lot alike that way, is prioritization. What do you most want in your life? Okay. And what will you do to get it? Now, like I know what I most want in my life and I'll do whatever the freak it takes to get it. Okay. And guess what, Kevin, you and I are made up of the same behavioral style, so that whenever something runs across my eyesight, I go, squirrel, right? Hey, what was that? Wait, what are you guys doing over there? Wait, you are having more fun than me. This
Yes.
happens for
Yes,
many
it
people.
does.
So the reason I say that is that for Kevin, for a lot of us on this call, not just Kevin, and I'm glad you guys asked the question because everybody else will have the questions, and there's hundreds of other people that may watch the show, watch this again, is that we have not, the number one thing that goes beyond that is never stopping to decide what is it you truly want. That's the problem. Mark Twain said it. I can help anybody find what they want if I could just find someone who knew. Because we humans are scattered, all of us. And you might say, oh, I'm a high D. My wife's a high D. She tends to know what she wants, but she also can get distracted by higher level things like, well, this needs my immediate attention. This needs my immediate attention.
There's so
Okay.
many things to distract us with technology now that we have so many options right in front of us that maybe when we were younger wasn't a thing. Like right now, you've got millions of opportunities, millions of options of what you want for your life. And then we also do that comparison thing. Oh, well, I want what they have, because if I had that, then this,
Yes.
So
And-
I think that's part of the struggle too, is that we're just so much more exposed to things.
Debbie, I love that you said that. Did you notice what you said? If I had what they had, I could do this, right? And you heard me, Debbie, I know you did, when I talked about be, do, have. And I want to stop right now. I know we're getting close to the end of the hour. I can't even believe 52 minutes have gone by. That means I've been talking like diarrhea of the mouth. But I'm going to tell you that, and Kevin, that will help you too. And Kevin, you sat in my class in Irvine where I talked about be, do, have. In other words, if we are not starting with how we are showing up, okay, then remember, I said when I first heard about Richard Branson, I said, if I had what he had, I could do what he does and become the man he is. That's not how you do it. You start by becoming happy, successful thinking, right? I feel successful, right? I'm confident. I'm decisive. I'm courageous. I'm in point of my relationship, I'm romantic. Like all the different things you think about, all the different ways that you want to be, all of those things can come from how I start being. If I want to sell more houses next year than I did this year, then I'm going to have to lead generate more next year than I did this year. And if I'm going to lead generate more, then maybe I need to be more calendared, courageous, confident. What do I have to be so that I'll be that? Like, you're never going to be the same person in 2023 and get that you were in 2022 and get better results. Okay. And I love that Debbie just put being. How am I being? It's exactly what I shared to you at the front of the call. How am I being when I answer the phone? How am I being when I make the phone call? You have to be an example. And by the way, Kevin and the rest of us, my intention to get something is 100% of the reason why I will get it, not the how. If you are clearly intent on having something, believe me, God and the universe will align to put the how in your life. All right. I had an intention to recruit a certain number of people, and I went to work doing it. And then guess what? I get calls from people saying, "Oh, Rick, my friend needs to talk to you." It just happens. If I go to work calling people about a listing, I need to get listings because I want to take 100 listings next year. Guess what? The phone starts ringing from people I didn't talk to or I had nothing to do with, but because God and the universe aligned to give me what I wanted. And when do God and the universe align to give you what you want? When your words match your actions. When you're doing what the hell you said you were going to do, not just what you said to a bunch of people that heard, but what you said inside of you that nobody knew but you. I'm going to kill it next year. And you're afraid to say it in front of everybody because then if you don't kill it, nobody knows but you that you didn't kill it. But guess what? God and the universe hear what's going on inside of you. So when you say, "I'm getting up to run tomorrow morning," you know, "I'm getting up to run tomorrow morning." And then you go to bed and in the morning, you go, "I'm not going to run. Nobody knows I was running but me. And there's nobody out there waiting for me. So I'm not going." Well, God and the universe are going, "What? Your words and your actions don't," so you don't get rewards. Right? Think about the William H. Murray quote. Write down the words William H. Murray right now and Google them. William H. Murray has a poem that's called when one commits, providence moves too. And in that poem, you'll read that, like find it. If you just Google the word providence, most likely his poem will come up. But he basically says when one commits, all sorts of actions that you couldn't have even dreamed of start to happen because you committed. Do you know what the word decide means, everyone? The word decide, if you break it down into the Greek translation, means the murder or death of all other options. So when I say I decide, it's the death to all other options.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt really quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Betty.
This is Betty. I'm a big fan of the Beads You Have. And if you don't already know, which I'm sure you do, Benjamin Hardy wrote a great book on it. And he just had a phenomenal video. It's 20 minutes, but you're going to want to go through it.
Can you send it to me? Yeah.
I will. And
Okay.
It's called, just for the group, in case they want to look it up, it's called How to Transform Your Identity and Upgrade Your Life.
Yeah.
One of the books that he recommends in that video is called, and it's a kind of unique book because it's not written for real estate agents, but it's called Raise Your Healthy Deserve Level. And it's by Gary Kadi, Kadi, and he is a coach for dentists. And if you just take the word dentist or dentistry out of it and put real estate, you're going to get so many wonderful benefits to increase your healthy deserve level. Because if you don't feel you deserve success, you're not going to be consistent. You're not going to really, the whole, your why is not going to matter if you don't feel you deserve those things. So I'll send you both of those the video and the book and everything, but I'm reading that Healthy Deserve Level book right now, and it's phenomenal. It basically tells you to start from the end. Where do you want, you know, on your last day, how you want to look back at your life instead of this whole why thing and being more materialistic or whatever.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
highly recommend it.
Yes, and what she's talking about, what Dr. Benjamin Hardy says is act as if. Okay, act as if of all your dreams came true. If I read the book, the one book that I love from Dr. Benjamin Hardy is Willpower Doesn't Work. And in there he says, act as if everything you ever dreamed of happening has come true. And that's that starts with the B. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Betty.
So he's got a newer book. It's called Be Your Future Self Now.
Nice. Okay, good. I have not heard of that or read it yet, but I have most of it.
Okay, great. I'll send that one to you too.
Okay,
Rick,
good.
I know we're wrapping up and I want to respond to Deborah's message. She said, I'd like to go to more masterminds and conferences. Can you add me to any that are available in 2023? So I want to let everybody know that when you get our January newsletter, which we're sending to everybody inside of the organization, I'm muting that. It's going to have everything. As Rick mentioned, we mapped out all of 2023 and it is including all of the EXP organizations, calendar of events as well, and all of the registration links. If you go to our Empire Builders Pro site right now and the resources link, when it has all of these calls, one layer below that, it already has all of those there. I've already updated the website there and all of the registration links are there as well. Some of them are only pre-registration because EXP hasn't initiated the full registration yet, but if it's there, it's there. I've already got the links there for you. So if you want to go ahead and do what we did, which was map out all of 2023, it's there for you. But you'll also get a newsletter from us at the beginning of the year that has everything in there. And any other, yes, and I know it's not an EXP call, Rick, I'm sorry, but there is other stuff that's in there as well. For any of you that are EXP, it's there. Anything else, guys, no matter whom you're with, go to their websites. Okay, go ahead and look it up. That's exactly what we did. We logged in, we were like, all right, what's on the schedule already? Let's look it up. If you're going to NAR, look up anything for NAR, right? So go ahead. Most of the people have put everything out there for 2023, or they're saying save the date for it. So that's all you need to do is go into each one of those things. Go to NAR, go to your particular brokerage, whatever it is, or anything that you typically go to. Most of them have already indicated that they have a save the date for the 2023 year. Okay, so you can go ahead and start mapping that out and save the date on your calendar. So just keep that in mind that you don't have to wait to start getting an email notification from those folks. They've put it out there. Okay, so go ahead and do that now. Anything that you want to do, and all of our calls are on there as well.
Thank you.
Okay, and I thank you, Selena. That was an awesome wrap. I do want to just share one more thing before we take off, and that is this. That there's two things that you have to remember is journaling is a great thing to work on you being a better you. And that is find 2 things every night that you're super grateful for, put them in a journal. Find 2 things every night that you did extremely well today and give yourself kudos for them, put them in a journal. And then the last thing is find 2 things that you want to do more effectively tomorrow than you did today, put them in a journal. So every night, 6 things you'll write in your journal, and you can't repeat them for 30 days. That allows you to build evidence, piles of evidence that you're amazing, instead of what we naturally do is build piles of evidence that we suck. All right. The last thing is this saying, to whom much is given, much is expected. First time I heard that saying was over 20 years ago, and it was somebody accepting an award on stage. He said, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I assumed it was about money. When I talked to the gentleman, and to this day, that gentleman and I are still friends, I said, what did you mean by that? He said, everybody on earth has been given a gift by God and the universe. A gift. It means it's your job to share the gift. What is your gift, folks? Figure it out and share it. There, I learned through a lot of coaching and getting it's Luke 12:48. Thanks, Deb. I didn't even know that. So I learned a lot about that. I cherish love. Like I cherish love. I desire love. I even have some bad habits that came out of a desire to have more love in my life, right? So what I what I found out through that coaching is that my biggest gift is making people feel loved. So if that's your gift, then you share it. If your gift is, like I know I'm really good at real estate. So I said, that's a gift. I'll share it. That's why I do these free Friday coaching calls. Whatever your gift is, share it. That's the main thing. And when you end this year, you got to think about that stuff, is that this is the time of the year when people, they get introspective and they start, but they also spend way too much time thinking about what you didn't accomplish this year. So make the year end with thinking about all the things you did accomplish and how much more amazing you'll create next year. All right. Give yourself some damn kudos and some grace and go into 2023 with a big smile on your face. All right. I love you all. I appreciate your attendance on the call. We'll get everything out in the next few days, and we appreciate you very much.
Thank you,
Merry
Rick.
Christmas.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas.
Thank
Thank
you.
Good stuff. Great stuff.
Thank you, Rick.